walked into the game some have been waiting 12 years for. After years of wrangling and debating, it'll finally be settled on the field as North Dakota State and North Dakota will play for the first time since 2003. Good afternoon, everybody, from outside the student section here at the Fargo Dome. The Bison Media Blog pregame show is live on the air on WDAY.com and Inforum.com. Along with Jeff Kolpak and Eric Peterson, I'm Dom Izzo. As I mentioned, it's been 12 years in the making. They've been waiting for 12 years. We're ready to go, Jeffrey.
I thought they were too young to know if this was a rivalry game, but obviously, I thought it was a little quiet all week. Not today. No. It is loud.
Big E, we've been waiting for it. Once it was announced on the schedule last August, it's finally here.
Well, let's shake it up a little bit. We're going to have an early prediction, bonus prediction here. I texted a former UND graduate, Chuck Klosterman, last night. His prediction.
Name drop it.
UND with the 21-20 upset, and untimely turnover is the difference. He also went on to say, you should mention UND has a real disadvantage because of their high academic standards. It's kind of like Harvard playing Clemson. So he's stirring up the pot right away.
Throwing the gauntlet.
And I got a baby nickel too. A replica nickel that was given to NDSU players after the 2000 game at the Fargo Dome.
Wow.
The only time the Bison beat UND in the Fargo Dome. So let's just get the history out of the way. Baby nickel, early predictions. Let's get this thing cranked up, Dom.
Klosterman and a nickel. I love it already. Jeffrey, this is the first time these two schools have played since 2003. Obviously, that's when NDSU announced they were moving up to Division I. It was a great game. UND won it 28-21 in overtime. Your memories of the last time they played up in the Alara Center.
Well, let's go back to that season. That was Craig Bowles' first year as a Bison head coach. And the season started with that big upset of Montana. You thought, okay, this team has something. The one thing Craig Bowl never did at NDSU was probably the only thing was never beat UND because he only played them one time, and this was it. A big stop in overtime is what won the game.
Digger Anderson had the stop on Rod Malone in overtime. That's the play you're going to see here that gave UND the win, 28-21. What happened, Big E, in the last 12 meetings where UND won 9 of those times against the Bison? Was there a common theme?
Well, I think they got the better recruiting battle, but I think they played better defense overall over that stretch. When UND was playing really well, they're playing great defense. They had that 3-4 defense. They're attacking. They give people troubles because they were disguising some of the stuff up front.
We'll take a break. We come back with the Bison Media Blog pregame show. We're live at the Fargo Dome here on WDAY.com.
More plays, more coverage, more sports. Stay ahead of the game. Get your sports fix with Sports Sunday. Sunday nights at 10:35. Sports Sunday is brought to you by Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
This is your livelihood, and success requires a seed partner that's just as committed as you are. Just like you, we're farmers first, so our values are rooted just as deep and our goals are just as strong. Our team is ready to hit your fields, so no matter what each growing season brings, we'll get through it together. It's who we are. Thunderseed, first in the field.
The specialists are so important because they're the ones that can take your team from average to great. The guys that have their specialized roles and understand them and do them really well, those guys are hard to find. And so when you have those guys that are good at what they do and believe in what they're doing, don't care too much about who gets the credit and want to go out and prove something, I think that is probably the most important ingredient in a successful team.
Choose the experts. Choose Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Peterson Farm Seed presents AGWEEK TV every weekend. Ag News expert Shauna Olson, trusted meteorologist John Wheeler, and the expertise of the entire AGWEEK staff will bring you the latest in ag news, lifestyle, experts, tech, and trends.
If it's important news to you, it's important news to us at AGWEEK TV.
AGWEEK TV, delivering the complete ag picture every weekend.
Welcome back, everybody, live here on the Bison Media Blog pregame show, along with Big E and Jeff Kolpak. I'm Dom Izzo. Jeffrey, we all know about Carson Wentz and what he brings to the table. But for UND starting quarterback Keaton Studsrud, this is just his 7th career start and none tougher than the environment he'll be in today.
Yeah, Keaton Studsrud, he's 32 of 53 on the year, engineered that big win over Wyoming in the opener. I'm curious to see, though, what UND team will show up. The one that was so efficient offensively against Wyoming, or the one that really struggled in the second half against
Drake.
Last week. Yeah, so he's a young man. This will be his first real loud environment. He's going to have to handle it.
You mentioned it as well. He played at Eastern Washington, at Northern Colorado, at Wyoming. He's not had an environment that's going to be like this today.
I feel like we're already in the dome already today with the student section behind us. But I think it's going to come down to the UND run game. And they're going to have to take a page out of the Bison, use that ball control offense, control the clock. So it's going to be a big game for guys like Nate Tangway on the NDSU defensive line and Nick DeLuca. Those guys have to control that front seven and prevent UND from running the ball, because I think UND has got to win the time possession battle, not turn it over to have a chance to win this game.
Right, John Saniaga, 148 yards in the opener, and he fumbled 3 times last week. So which guy will we see today?
I want to go back to DeLuca and how well he's played so far. He has been the Bison MVP on defense. The interception against Montana, had a sack last week against Weber State. He's played out of his mind so far to start the year.
Even go back to that Montana game. Before that 4th and 10 conversion, you had a key not tip away the play before. So if they hold him on 4th, that becomes a big play.
Play of the game.
It just shows that experience he gained as a true freshman and a true sophomore is paying off. He's been in some big games, big atmospheres, and he's just been all over the field, and he's leading that linebacker group like he should, because he's got the game experience.
Kolpak, the biggest topic for a lot of Bison fans this week has not been about the nickel or playing UND again. It's been about stopping the 3-4, which UND did so well against NDSU, especially in the late 90s and into the early 2000s. How do they do that today? We're looking at video from the 2013 game when the Bison blitzed Southern Illinois because Bubba Schweiger was the D coordinator for the Salukis back then.
It sure helps to have a 5th-year quarterback in Carson Wentz to start off with.
And to have John Crockett and Sam O'Jury like they did that year.
Yeah, you have to mix it up like any defense, but you got to be wary of the outside linebackers and their blitzing capability. That will be a key. If UND's outside linebackers, and if you hear their names a lot, that's not good for the offense. You got to make them play pass defense. You got to make them drop. So that outside passing game, I think, has got to be there for NDSU.
A name it's tough to pronounce, but watch today is Dio Iduwu from UND's linebacker. He, along with Will Rattel, fantastic for UND.
They have a great linebacker group. They're making all their plays. Like any 3-4 defense, the linebackers make the plays. What is going on around here now? But there is a danger in the 3-4 defense. If they're doing all that stunting and stuff up front, if you get caught in the wrong defense, it can be a big play. So key early, can NDSU get UND in a wrong defensive call and pop a big run or something early in the game?
I didn't listen to a word he said. They're going nuts behind us.
If the dome is this loud, the UND quarterback's going to have a tough time.
This is Georgia Southern loud.
Yeah, we talked about that. Quarterbacks in the first time here, the coastal quarterback, the first time he struggled. Second time he got a lot better at it. So there'll be a lot on that young man's shoulders.
Well, I would mention that too, because you look at how Alex Ross played last year, how Jarek McKinnon and Georgia Southern played the second time they came through here, much better than the initial trip to the Dome.
Well, the first Georgia Southern team, J-Bo Shaw was the quarterback, but McKinnon was still here.
He was on the team.
He saw the atmosphere, and more importantly, I think the team around him knew how to handle it. I think the teams in general, I think the second time Georgia Southern came, what they did was they came out and they saw the entrance. They're like, let's not sit in the locker room and cower. They're like, let's embrace this atmosphere. I think the first time you're here, you're a little surprised by it. The second time you're here, and you see it with Missouri Valley teams, they handle it better because they've been in the atmosphere.
How big is it to have a quick start for UND today, to have a fumble, an interception, or a touchdown, just to get this crowd quieted down?
Right, here's a big stat too. UND has not forced a turnover in its 2 games. I think they need to force at least 2 today to have a chance. And you got to do it early. I think you got to get that noise down to a moderate level. And what's the best way to control the dome noise? Have a sustained long drive.
And also how to beat the Bison in the Fargo Dome, we've seen it, is to run the football. And that's something that obviously UND did to great success against Wyoming, and not so much 22 yards last week.
Well, the way teams have tried to attack NDSU this year and with some success
is to go deep.
It's to go deep.
Yeah.
NDSU, first 2 games, they've given up a long bomb each game.
And also, to that point, Big E, UND's wide receivers do not stretch the field. The one guy that can is Clive Georges, and he's out right now.
Well, if you even want to go back farther, I'm hoping UND is thinking, what if Kenny Galladay doesn't transfer?
Exactly.
A guy like that could have stretched the field. If UND is going to win this game too, I think they're going to have to find a big play in the pass game. Because like Jeff said, NDSU has been a little susceptible. Maybe they get better. It's 3 games in. Maybe the young guys make less mistakes on the back end. But I still think you got to test it and prove that NDSU's defense is going to be sound on the back end.
The one thing that we noticed last week is Carson Wentz had no way had a high ankle sprain for the way he played.
Yeah, his running was spot on, I thought. And that first time he ran it, he cut left, cut right. And you thought, okay, that cannot be a high ankle sprain. The run game's been real effective for NDSU, and it will have to be today.
When we come back, the history of this game between NDSU and UND, it's been 2 tremendous games. We'll talk about that when we come back. Live on the Bison pregame show on WDAY.com and Inforum.com.
For over 60 years, our focus has been you. A growing community needs a news source that grows with them. And you found that source in WDAY.
Good evening, everyone.
Our 6 p.m. newscast has been with you night after night. When the city comes to life or when news happens, you'll know. Dana Mock, Kirsten Keeley, out in the community, behind the desk.
It's had no major issues with users viewing offensive materials.
2 anchors you can trust. When the news hits, there's only one source to turn to. WDAY, the news leader.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? AGWEEK magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. AGWEEK provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted, AGWEEK. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
Say goodbye to expensive window treatments and Saturdays filled with dusting. Minnkota Windows offers blinds between the glass and select window styles and sliding patio doors. With low E glass, they're even more energy efficient. They're easy to operate, have a clean, efficient look, and control privacy, light, and heat. And the best part is, they're safe for kids and pets. Blinds between the glass from Minnkota Windows. Midwest built, Midwest tough, guaranteed for life.
Minnkota Windows, windows for your world.
Peterson Farm Seed presents AGWEEK TV every weekend. Ag news expert Shauna Olson, trusted meteorologist John Wheeler, and the expertise of the entire AGWEEK staff will bring you the latest in ag news, lifestyle, experts, tech, and trends.
If it's important news to you, it's important news to us at AGWEEK TV.
AGWEEK TV, delivering the complete ag picture every weekend.
Back live here outside the Fargo Dome of the Bison Media Blog pregame show as we get you ready for North Dakota State and North Dakota. 111 meetings. Today marks number 111. They haven't played in 12 years. I know the buzz wasn't there all week like it was in the glory days they played. It certainly is there today, but this is the longest Division II rivalry until they stopped playing in 2003.
Well, at least it didn't go to the way of Iowa and Iowa State, which went 40 years without playing, or Auburn, Alabama, which went a few decades. But it feels like it's back today. We were mentioned earlier in the week that there's no playoffs on the line like there used to be. There's no nickel. There's no nickname issues going on. I think that's all settled. Now it's just a good old-fashioned FCS football game. Now, we talked to South Dakota State coach John Stiegelmeier earlier this week. He said when USD and NDSU got back together after they had a hiatus, he thought it was more professional.
What do you think? You think it'll be the case today?
We'll find out. I think I got to see this game first.
Let's go back into the archives. 4 great memories between NDSU and UND on the football field from the WDAY archives.
4th and 1, less than a yard actually, and if the Sioux stop them, the game's over. What a game. What a game. There's nothing more we can add. Burrell to the left. Here's the pitch. Malone is stopped. He didn't get it. And the Sioux have won it. And you see John Bowenkamp hugging Jeff Glass, and there is Matt Vanderpan, the senior tight end, hoisting the nickel
was 12 long years ago. Little did anyone know that was watching or playing would have to wait more than a decade to see NDSU and UND back on the football field. The wait ends Saturday with a new group of players eager to add their own stories to this unparalleled rivalry.
It's Burnell having some trouble. Spins away, tries to get it to Wool. Now Wool has it, out of bounds. The Bison stop the Sioux. The Bison will go on to the playoff.
Saturday will mark the 111th meeting between the schools. As of facing a team that's just 75 miles away isn't enough, there's also the added joy of lifting a 75-pound nickel over your head after clinching a win.
And there it is. 75 pounds, never felt so light.
With great games, there have been great players. Some that went on to greener pastures in the NFL.
Klein Saucer is wide open. Somebody broke a coverage. We've got a foot race, and look at the speed of Jim Klein Saucer. Amazing.
It's now 2nd and 14. Kolash fakes, he's under pressure, and he is mauled by Phil Hansen, bringing him closer to that NDSU career sack mark. And it'll be Tony Satter for a touchdown.
Bentram turns it up. He's got some running room, and he's going to score.
He's just tied Walter Payton's all-time record for touchdowns.
There was a time when NDSU dominated this series. From 1981 to 1992, the Bison won every year. That all changed in a fluke play in 1993.
As Highland spins away and pitches away to Jason Miller, and look at him go. The ball is fumbled. It will be a Sioux touchdown as Mooney takes it in. I don't believe it. 13 is now UND's lucky number. For the first time in 13 years, it can be said the Sioux have beaten the Bison.
Coltback, are there going to be any tearing of the goalpost down like we saw there in 1993 at Memorial Stadium?
You know, it's funny, people ask about your memories of the series, and a lot of them are of UND because, well, UND was the better team in the latter half of the, I would say, 10 years there. 4-1 in the Dome.
What, is there a game that sticks out?
Well, the Bentram game sticks out to me just because of the Walter Payton record thing, but I would say the Klein Saucer run. I think that's the lasting memory I have of this series until we'll see what happens today.
1998, Big E, when Jim Klein Saucer got paid on that play.
Well, I think he got himself paid. To say that NDSU helped him get paid, the talent was there. I think that was a unique moment because people remember to this day just because of the highlight. It made national news when highlights at Division II level never made national news. And I think Klein Saucer kind of transcended both fan bases. While the animosity was there between the fan bases, I think NDSU fans could appreciate how good he was.
Respect him.
And then he went on to play with the Vikings, and he became kind of a likable guy. So he's a guy who, played pretty well on both sides of the rivalry when most guys, if you're on the other side, the fans didn't like you.
Sierra Rosenau, Carrington native, outstanding Bison track star, tweeted at me, love Jimmy because she's from Carrington as well, but go Bison this week. So I think that typifies what Big E's talking about.
Well, I think there's a lot of conflict across the state because I think you have a lot of UND hockey fans and Bison football fans.
In your household too.
Jerseys in both in my son's closet. I know. So I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of inner conflict.
Go ahead, Big E.
I went to NDSU. My sister went to UND. I mean, if you live in this area and you had multiple people in your family go to college, kids, aunts, uncles, some went to UND, some went to NDSU. That's just the way it is.
Now there's a game scheduled September the 5th, 2019. Do we see this series continue beyond that?
I don't know, right? It's going to happen again after that. It's just a matter of, if it's going to be every year, they're going to have to be in the same conference. I find it hard to believe, being in different conferences, they're going to find a contract where they play every year. The best you can hope for is maybe every other year if they're not in the same conference.
Right.
But for it to be what it was, a regular every annual year occurrence, it's going to have to be same conference.
And to that point, Jeff, it's got to be in Grand Forks to be in the conference because I can't imagine that NDSU would lose this leverage and go to Grand Forks.
Absolutely. If this game will happen after 19, Matt Larson's going to have to say, okay, we'll do our schedule and figure out a way to go to Grand Forks. Playoffs maybe though.
Yeah.
UND's 2-0. NDSU's 1-1. They continue.
Well, we've seen it too. If these teams are both in the playoffs,
they're going to be playing
They're going to be
together.
in the same bracket.
Yep.
So if they both win games, or they're going to meet, it's going to meet up because we see it with South Dakota State. The NCAA loves bus rides. They do not like flying teams places.
And then you'll have a true rivalry.
How about this, though, Kolpak, that on the guest list today, Patty Viverito's here. That's no surprise, the commissioner of the Missouri Valley. But sitting right next to her is Tom Duple, the commissioner of the Summit League.
That's some good investigative journalism there.
What do you make of that?
Can we surmise that Duple's trying to get Viverito to... Because Summit wants UND, right?
Absolutely.
Summit wants UND just because of the proximity, if nothing else. And but for UND to make the move, it will need a football league. I wonder if Duple and...
little leaning going on there.
Little selling going on to Viverito.
Here's the thing, though, and we've talked about this. They would need another team, though, wouldn't they? Because the Summit would have an odd number of teams for basketball, and they would need it for football as well, Big E.
Well,
it can't be just UND.
I don't know if needs the word. It makes scheduling a lot easier when it even amount. And if you go to, the problem is if you go to 12, you have to go 2 6-team leagues in football. That creates a whole other set of. So I don't know if there's another team that finds its way to another conference and they go to 9 and then you add UND. But I don't know who'd be the other team if they went to 12. That's
I do
the
know
problem.
this. I do
Eastern
know.
Illinois.
I mean, there's some ADs in the Big Sky who just don't like paying that
See you
travel
later.
bill.
Yeah,
Yes.
they wouldn't mind saying goodbye to them. When we come back, the injury update, give you a status on who's playing today, who might not be playing, and of course our predictions still to come. That's next as the Bison pregame show rolls on live from the Dome.
This is your livelihood, and success requires a seed partner that's just as committed as you are. Just like you, we're farmers first, so our values are rooted just as deep and our goals are just as strong. Our team is ready to hit your fields, so no matter what each growing season brings, we'll get through it together. It's who we are. Thunderseed, first in the field.
Peterson Farm Seed presents AGWEEK TV every weekend. Ag news expert Shauna Olson, trusted meteorologist John Wheeler, and the expertise of the entire AGWEEK staff will bring you the latest in ag news, lifestyle, experts, tech, and trends.
If it's important news to you, it's important news to us at AGWEEK TV.
AGWEEK TV, delivering the complete ag picture every weekend.
More plays. More coverage. More sports. Stay ahead of the game. Get your sports fix with Sports Sunday. Sunday nights at 10:35. Sports Sunday is brought to you by Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
The specialists are so important because they're the ones that can take your team from average to great. The guys that have their specialized roles and understand them and do them really well, those guys are hard to find. And so when you have those guys that are good at what they do and believe in what they're doing, don't care too much about who gets the credit, and want to go out and prove something, I think that is probably the most important ingredient in a successful team.
Choose the experts. Choose Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
The Media Blog Injury Report, brought to you by Sanford Orthopedics.
Sanford Health Injury Update. First, we'll start with Carson Wentz. Kolpak, no worse for wear on that high ankle sprain last week.
Boy, a week ago at this time we were wondering, and there was no wonder after that touchdown run we just saw.
He was fantastic, Big E. No, I mean, he looked just like the Wentz of old.
It didn't take long, about 5 minutes into that game, or less than 5 minutes, he had a quarterback run where he called it, and Chris Kleiman said the sideline was wondering, does he want to check into that? I think Carson Wentz wanted to send a statement that the ankle's fine, I'm ready to roll, and message was heard loud and clear.
The one guy who did not make a tackle in last week's game was Pierre G. Tucker, who had a concussion, didn't play the rest of the game. He's supposed to go, though, today.
Pierre's ready to go. I think that turned out to be a pretty minor issue.
When we come back, our predictions on today's game and the rest of the FCS as the Bison pregame show rolls on WDAY.com.
The specialists are so important because they're the ones that can take your team from average to great. The guys that have their specialized roles and understand them and do them really well, those guys are hard to find. And so when you have those guys that are good at what they do and believe in what they're doing, don't care too much about who gets the credit, and want to go out and prove something. I think that is probably the most important ingredient in a successful team.
Choose the experts. Choose Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
The specialists are so important because
more plays, more coverage, more sports. Stay ahead of the game. Get your sports fix with Sports Sunday. Sunday nights at 10:35. Sports Sunday is brought to you by Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Welcome back, everybody, live here on the Bison pregame show. Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, our Saturday selections with Big E and Kolpak. There are some really good games, not including just here at the Fargo Dome today, including at Kolpak's second favorite place in Cheney, Washington, where Eastern Washington will play Montana State, debuting new white helmets today, mind you. What do you make of this game? Cooper Kupp is a questionable game-time decision for the Eagles.
That doesn't matter. Montana State gave up 33 points a game last year. I don't think they're that much better defensively. Eastern on the red turf, easily.
I got Eastern Washington winning as well. What do you think, Big E?
I got Montana State. Who has Eastern Washington stopped yet?
Nobody. That's a good point.
Kolpak's leaning on defense. Eastern Washington hasn't stopped anybody either.
How about this, though? If Eastern loses that game, Kolpak, they're 0-3. It's almost a must-win the rest of the season for us.
It certainly puts them on a bubble, but with the expanded playoff bracket, they still make it.
Other games today, let's go to the Missouri Valley Big Sky. We've got one here. We also have one in San Luis Obispo, your real favorite place, where Cal Poly hosts Northern Iowa later tonight.
Tough schedule for Northern Iowa, playing Eastern last week. You know what? Going out to Cal Poly's tough. It's at night. NDSU's been there. I've covered those games. It's a tough environment. The triple option that Cal Poly runs, to get ready for in 1 week, that's hard. I'm taking Cal Poly.
Going with the Mustangs. What do you think, Big E?
Cal Poly.
Both on Cal Poly. All right.
It's hard to go to California and win.
It is. I saw something out of Northern Iowa last week. I like the Panthers to win that game. In Myrtle Beach, your third favorite place in the world, that's where Coastal Carolina hosts Western Illinois today. A big chance for the Leathernecks.
Great chance for the Leathernecks to make a statement on Bob Nielsen's program. But I think Coastal wins, and I think if they win today, which they will, they're going to go unbeaten.
The only game maybe to stop will be Liberty at the end of the season. Western plays good defense, though.
I think they'll keep it close. Coastal's just going to be too much at home. They got the experience at quarterback. We talk about quarterback play. Alex Ross, home field, Coastal Carolina.
Illinois State and Eastern Illinois played for the 104th time today in Charleston. The Redbirds looked pretty good last week in dismantling Morgan State.
Is there Jimmy Garoppolo Jr. back? I don't think so. I think Illinois State wins by 5 touchdowns.
Wow, big win for the Redbirds.
Boat race in your mind.
This could be a yacht race, Illinois State. That's beyond boat race. That's like a big margin.
I think we're all on USD and Youngstown to win today. They're playing St. Francis and Drake.
Well, Youngstown struggled against Robert Morris, but I got to believe the Fighting Bull Polinis will rebound.
All right, let's do our game day predictions here. Big E, I'll have you lead off. This is what everybody's been waiting for. What's going to happen with NDSU and UND today?
Well, let's do a little history lesson. Last time these two teams played was 2003. Kenny Rogers released his 25th studio album, Back to the Well. I found this in my closet this morning. The Men Who Look Like KennyRogers.com t-shirt. It has nothing to do with the game, but I just wanted to get that on the show this year. But what Kenny Rogers does have to do with this game is hair. To me, it's all about hair today.
It's always about what is this?
Flow mode. Andrew Bonnet has not touched the ball yet this year. Lucas Albers, 1 catch today. They're going to need flow mode to get something done today because they're going to be stacking the line of scrimmage. I'm done with the hair now. NDSU 31, UND 17. Look for Andrew Bonnet and Lucas Albers to make some big plays. That's all I got.
Flow mode from Big E. I've got NDSU winning today, 31-20. I think the environment will be just a little bit too much for UND to handle. What do you have?
I can't do flow mode.
Flow mode, you can't rock.
I can't do flow mode. You know, earlier this week, Roy C. Peterson passed away at age 98.
Yep.
And this is more of a tribute than a prediction that Roy was one of the founders of Team Makers. And his trademark all over town was this yellow terry cloth hat. I tried all week to find one, and I couldn't find it. So in the spirit of Roy C., I had to come up with something different.
Oh, what do you got? The cowboy hat?
Thanks to my friends at One Herd. I got the yellow cowboy hat. I got NDSU 27, UND 10. You'll be tied at halftime.
Really?
Kolpak is such a homer, man. What is going on? I was in negotiations this week to get the actual nickel trophy up here, but they fell through. It's like Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
You don't talk about the
Same
location
with the
of the
nickel trophy. You do not talk about that.
Great stuff,
where is the
guys.
nickel?
We have no idea. Game starts at 2:30. Live blog at 1:30 with these guys and myself. Back post game for complete highlights and reaction as UND and NDSU play for the first time since 2003. We'll see you guys after the game.